All right, let's talk about AMD, more specifically AMD's Analyst Day. Just like I did with Block, Square, I made a supercut of everything you needed to know during the Investor Day. In this case, now we're going to talk about the Analyst Day. There was a lot of information, and if you're an AMD shareholder, well, you should be extremely bullish. And if you're looking for exposure in the semiconductor industry, data centers, gaming, AI, you name it, certainly give AMD a look. Obviously, you can look at their competitors as well. NVIDIA, there's Qualcomm, there's obviously Intel. I am suffering a lot by holding that name. But anyways, we're going to talk about AMD because, to be honest, it's an amazing company. It's probably the best company that you can pick up today. If you look at the valuation, yes, it's still not cheap compared to other semiconductors out there. Obviously, NVIDIA is not cheap as well, but well, you're paying the premium because it is just a tremendously good company with tremendously good management and execution. So at the end of this video, we're actually going to look at some new price targets and some new analyst notes. So if you're interested in that, you can skip everything and just go to the back of the video. But first, let's have a look at the analysts. Well, the summary of the Analyst Day. And also, if you want to support this channel, check out the link in the description below to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Also, if you want a chance to win $250 or 3 months of VIP access to stockcard.io, check out the link in the description below, and in the pinned comment, we are having a competition there. You basically have to pick stocks and beat me by the end of the day. It's free to enter, so why not? You can then maybe use the $250 to maybe buy some shares in AMD. Wouldn't that be a great idea? Anyways, all those links down in the description and in the pinned comment. Let's jump right into this. All right, I'm gonna start with the gaming side of things. So best-in-class organic growth when it comes to gaming leadership. You will hear the word leadership a lot, just like with Intel. Leadership, best-in-class, etc. You will hear that a lot throughout this video. And if you want to watch the whole Analyst Day, if you have the time for it, you will hear that as well. So as for the consoles, right? Xbox, Valve, PS5, all of them are powered by AMD. Over 50 PC gaming laptops, best in class as well, powered by AMD. Now, talking about gaming, it's also the fastest growing form of entertainment. 2015, 2 billion gamers. By 2030, there will be 4 billion gamers. Right now, we're at just over 3 billion gamers worldwide, approximately 70% cross-platform players, 57% game on PC and console. You might ask yourself, so what's the rest? Well, mobile is also a form of gaming. In 2021, there was about $176 billion spent on games. So not a small segment, and it's pretty great to be the leader in that segment. Well, the leader in their words. Then we have data center. Again, data center leadership here. Now, remember when I said that data center will become AMD's biggest segment in the next quarter? Well, you will see that my prediction from my crystal ball was actually correct, but we're gonna get to those numbers in just a bit. First, a bit of, well, overview of what that entails. So customer expansion, the world's 10 largest hyperscalers use, well, AMD. So AWS, Meta, Google Cloud, Oracle, Microsoft Azure, Tencent Cloud, and many, many more. And just for a quick FYI here, just because those companies use AMD chips does not mean that they can't use NVIDIA's or Intel. Sometimes they like to mix them, just so we're clear. Moving on to some numbers right now. So the results here, data center and embedded resulted in a 95% CAGR, which if you look at those numbers, those are really, really astonishing. PC, 46% CAGR, gaming, 50% CAGR if you look at 2019 to 2021. Then the revenue mix, and this is where my point comes in. You can see here back in 2019, revenue mix $6.7 billion, approximately 15% was data center and embedded. Fast forward to 2021, revenue mix $16.4 billion, where approximately 25% is data center and embedded. Now the financial performance here continues to, well, blow my mind and blow everybody's mind as well, Gross margin went from 43% to 48% between 2019 and 2021. Operating margin basically more than doubled during that period. Earnings per share, well, just skyrocketed, and the same with free cash flow. Then they talked a bit about their two newest acquisitions, so AMD and Xilinx, the opportunity there. They basically talked about AI from cloud to edge to endpoint, data center and communication, automotive, and then embedded. Then there was the most recent acquisition, which is Pensando. This will add industry-leading DPU technology to data center portfolio. Comprehensive software stack accelerates networking, security, and storage, deployed at scale across leading cloud and enterprise customers, like we've seen before. World-class team with deep networking, software, and system knowledge. And now, are you ready to look at some incredible numbers? I hope you are. So this was the TAM, given TAM, total addressable market, back in 2020's Financial Analyst Day. So they said the TAM was around $79 billion, 12 billion gaming, 32 billion PCs, and 35 billion data center. Fast forward to today with AMD and the Xilinx TAM, that grew to 135 billion, where gaming grew to 16 billion, PC 40 billion, embedded 29 billion, which is a brand new segment here that they did not have before, and data center to 50 billion. And here comes the next one. So for the next 5 years, they see that TAM grow from 135 billion to 300 billion dollars, where data centers basically more than doubled. You suddenly add automotive, which is around $27 billion. You can add communications, which is $32 billion. PC grows 25%, according to them, to $50 billion. Gaming doubled a little bit more, actually, to $37 billion. And embedded $33 billion, which results in $300 billion approximately in TAM for the next 5 years, according to AMD. So how do they see this evolve in the next 5 years? Well, the computing market transformation looks a bit like this. Data center and cloud, explosion of AI, and then PC and gaming, which they are perfectly positioned in all three segments. And if we're talking about long-term goals, we obviously have long-term financial models here. So they expect revenue growth of approximately 20% CAGR, gross margin of above 57%, operating expenses to be between 23 and 24%, operating margin in the mid 30%, and then free cash flow margin of over 25%, which will obviously lead to significant cash generation. And that means, well, more for the shareholders, which if you want to see again, you can see a significant cash generation from 2019 to 2021. Free cash flow margin 2019 was just 4%. In 2021, that reached 20%, and as we've seen, they want to go above 25%. Now let's talk again about the big mix here that AMD has, right? Biggest segments, PC and gaming, and then data center and embedded. So in 2019, that was $6.7 billion, approximately $1 billion data center and embedded, which results to approximately 15% revenue. Fast forward 2021, reached $16.4 billion, and 4 billion of those are data center and embedded. So basically they quadrupled data center and embedded revenue in just 2 years, and that makes up 25% of revenue. But we're not done yet. Take that scenario, add Xilinx to the combination here, and you have suddenly $8 billion, so double that, and about 40% of revenue, which reach approximately $20.1 billion, that's pro forma. And if you thought I was done, yet, they go and continue here with the significantly higher data center and embedded revenue mix, as we've seen, $20.1 billion. But in the last 12 months, it's approximately 20% CAGR and over 50% of revenue. And in the next 12 months, you can expect that number to keep on growing. I expect next quarter data center and embedded to be actually bigger than the gaming one. And so we've reached the closing remarks here. So long-term capital allocation priorities for the company. So they will obviously invest in the business, in technology, products, go-to-market infrastructure and talent, M&A, strategic M&A like we've seen with Xilinx and Pensando, shareholder returns. Now look at that number here, return of more than 40% of free cash flow, so pretty significant. Balance sheet, significant net cash position, obviously, strong investment grade rating, capital expenditure between 2 and 3% of revenue. And then they reiterated their financial outlook for this year, even with all what's happening right now with the economy, with the world, with this slower growth in the PC market. They still reiterate their financial outlook. So they expect approximately 60% growth year over year that will reach approximately $26.3 billion, gross margin of about 54%, and operating expenses towards revenue, 24%. Now, going back to the last slide, right? Shareholder return more than 40% of free cash flow. I hope you know what that means for the future. If you're buying AMD right now, which is not paying any dividend, probably by the end of the decade, you will suddenly get dividend payouts if obviously these numbers that they're giving us during the Analyst Day actually become true. Because again, those are the things that they think that will happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes they exceed expectations, sometimes they don't meet those. But if you plan on growing this fast, if you plan on generating that much cash, at the end of the day, they'll probably do the same as Qualcomm, as Intel, and yes, even Nvidia, even those are just paying 4 cents per share. I do expect AMD to pay out a dividend by the end of this decade. Now, for some, you might not care, but for most, for long-term portfolios, you do like to have those dividend-paying stocks in that portfolio in case the market doesn't move much or it goes down, at least there is still money coming in. And that's one of the positives of holding Intel. Even though the stock hasn't moved on the upside, has moved on the downside, I keep on getting 4 times per year some money in my account. And then I can just buy more and more shares. And now actually before we end this video, I almost forgot the analyst price target. So first up, we have KeyBank here reiterates overweight rating on AMD following Analyst Day. So the analysts saw key takeaways being AMD's reiterated 2022 revenue guidance, updated and increased long-term model to 20% revenue growth, increased cost synergies from Xilinx acquisition, and the confirmed ramp of CPU Genoa in Q4. Then we have another analyst here, Craig Hallam, encouraged by AMD after Analyst Day. He reiterated a buy rating and a $130 price target. He remains very encouraged in AMD's continued strong growth outlook, noting that AMD continues to drive a strong product portfolio that is driving growth and share gains across its business. Next up, we have an analyst at Oppenheimer, which remains on AMD's sidelines following the Analyst Day, so not much there. But the next one, Christopher Rowland, reiterates his positive rating and $140 price target on AMD, says that the Analyst Day January was in line with expectations. And last one is an analyst at Benchmark, which raised its price target from $125 to $135. And he expects this financial outlook, the one that they reiterated, and the 20% growth to be viewed very, very positively by investors. So overall, this was the Analyst Day. Obviously, do share your thoughts down in the comments below. I do not own AMD in my personal portfolio, but damn, I'm a very, very big fan of Lisa Su and the company. Again, I will keep on holding Intel, but I'm closely following AMD, Nvidia, and Qualcomm as well. Qualcomm will probably be coming at the end of this month because it's an amazing company. Obviously, if some of you do hold Qualcomm, do share your thoughts down in the comments below if you want to feature it in the next one. And so if you enjoyed this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.